My curiosity is definitely piqued.
I was kind of on the fence, to be honest.
So here we go. Oh yeah, plush.
It's fast.
Oh yeah, man. That boost really kicks in. Ooh, jeez. Okay, that torque is real. Oh yeah, here we go.
I think I need to get on an e-bike for a season at least.
I have been riding bikes for probably, oh man, like 13 years, I would say. I am Sheldon. I'm the e-commerce merchandiser here at TPC. As a cyclist, I would say I am 100% dirt, gravel, and mountain bike for sure. Definitely heavier on the mountain bike side. I love bike packing, big rides, big adventure days. You know, living here in the Front Range, high country rides when it opens up.
Look at this view, y'all.
My name is Aaron, and I'm the facilities coordinator here at TPC. I started cycling right around 3 years ago, smack in the middle of the pandemic. Took a trip to Moab. We were so underprepared. We're riding these Trek Marlin 5s, like no dropper post, and I was wearing running shoes. It was an absolute mess, but I think part of that mess was what kind of made me fall in love with it, honestly. This is probably like my third full season in a row riding. So I'm definitely still a little early in my progression and I have a lot to learn, but working around bikes every day gets me pretty jazzed to ride.
My general stance on e-bikes is curious. You know, love them or hate them, e-bikes are here to stay. I've ridden them around like test rides and commuter style, but I've never had the chance to actually get out on a full suspension. So my curiosity is definitely piqued.
I'm currently riding an Orbea Rise M10, which is actually a light-powered e-bike. Before I jumped into even considering buying an e-bike, I was kind of on the fence, to be honest. When I was riding places like White Ranch on my pedal bike, just my regular analog, I would be suffering on the climb. Then I'd see these guys on e-bikes come up beside me, having a full-on conversation, not sweating, not breathing heavy, and I was kind of bitter, kind of jealous at the same time, like, must be nice. And now that I'm on one, yes, it absolutely is nice.
Check out the Orbea right here.
I've been really, really happy with the M10 so far. It's got 360 watt-hour battery in it. It's 20 mile-an-hour pedal assist, and it has 60 Newton meters of torque. That Rise has a Fox 36 on the front with 140 mils of travel, and a Fox DPX2 on the back with 140 mils of travel. While I feel like the 140 mil of travel is a pretty good spot to be in, I would like a little bit more for sure. I think the sweet spot for me would be like a 160 in the front, 150 in the rear. But weight-wise, it's fantastic. Weighs in right about 41 pounds. So on the descents, it feels like an analog bike.
Woo, rowdy but fun.
Some of the things that are making me consider an alternate ride, definitely the travel, and the other one would be for the battery. With summer coming up pretty quickly, I'm pretty excited to get some like overnight camping trips in. I don't really currently have a great way to recharge my battery if I'm out in the field somewhere. So having one that I wouldn't have to recharge, where I could do like maybe 2 full days of riding, would be pretty sweet.
Whew.
Currently, I have an Orbea, I'm probably gonna say this wrong because I still don't know how to say it, Oith? Or Oiz. Orbea, help us out, let us know how to say this. It's a 120 travel bike. Down country is kind of what people are calling it these days. It's got all the nice Fox Factory, XTR Shimano. It's probably one of the best mountain bikes I've owned so far, and I've owned a lot. What's really making me consider an alternate ride like an e-bike is just getting more time on the bike. You spend, you know, up to an hour just climbing just to rip 10, 15 minutes back downhill. If I'm out there for 2-3 hours, I'm probably getting, you know, roughly about 2-3 runs in. There's been people that I've seen on the trail and I've talked to, and they're like, yeah, I'm on my 8th run. And I'm just like, that's amazing. Like, I wish I could do that because that would be really cool to ride this trail for that long. I'm choosing the Orbea Rise. It's actually gonna be pretty much the same part spec that I currently have on my bike. A little longer travel, it's gonna be a 140 front, 140 rear Shimano motor.
The bike that I chose for this test is a 2021 Trek Rail 9.9. Some of the things I was looking for in this was more torque. The Trek has 85 Newton meters of torque compared to that Orbea Rise that I'm riding right now, which only has 60. It has 10 more mils of travel in the front and rear, which is gonna be really nice. So 160 in the front, 150 in the rear, which is exactly what I'm looking for. It has a much bigger battery. This battery is 625 watt hours compared to my 360. So not quite double, but pretty close. So should theoretically be able to extend my ride even more than I currently am and go a little bit quicker. And what's gonna be unique about this one, it's full RockShox suspension. All my bikes have been Fox in the past, no experience with RockShox whatsoever. A lot of the master techs that I work with and whose opinions I respect a lot are big RockShox guys, so really excited to hop on a RockShox bike and see what that suspension's all about.
Predictions, expectations. What I'll be paying attention to the most is, well, definitely battery life, because I'm gonna push it. I really wanna see like how accurate, you know, these listings are, and like for my riding style, is it gonna be the same? Is it gonna be different, more or less? I'm gonna run my heart rate monitor and stuff like that, so I really wanna know like how much easier is it to climb these hills on an e-bike versus my normal bike. Riding the bike downhill with the weight is gonna be interesting because my bike's pretty light. The e-bike I'm choosing is considered a lightweight e-bike. What we have it listed as on our website is like 47 pounds, which that doesn't sound lightweight to me, but for an e-bike it totally is.
Biggest potential hang up that I'm a little bit worried about is really just the weight. I really want to keep with that lightweight feel of a bike. This one weighs in pretty close to 50 pounds, whereas my Orbea M10 weighs in just over 40. It's like 41, depending on what pedals I have on it. So I'm a little nervous to see what it's like. I would imagine this 50-pound bike is going to be a little bit more planted on the downhill, which does have its pluses and minuses. I'm pretty playful on my descents. I like to be able to pop back and forth. So I'm a little worried it won't be quite as poppy, but I'm excited to see if I can actually tell a difference in 10 pounds. Predictions. I think I'm gonna love the torque. I think I'm really gonna love the travel. I think I'm gonna love the distance of the battery and how far it'll take me. White Ranch is my base example because I ride there the most, and it's a super steep climb. With my Orbea, I can do 2 laps in full turbo mode. It takes me just under an hour, somewhere between 45 and 55 minutes to do that on the Orbea. Theoretically, with this Trek, I probably will be able to do like 4 laps in close to boost mode. I think my body will die pretty quickly compared to what the battery will die in the Trek. So I don't know if I'll be able to get to 4 laps. I'll try my best, but I think I'll be able to do my hair faster, and I think the battery will last a lot longer on the Trek for sure. And I think I might be a full power e-bike guy by the end of this.
What's up, y'all? Just got up here to the West Mag Trailhead for the first ride. Really stoked to check it out. This is one of my favorite trails in the Front Range. It really brings all types of riding, so I'm really gonna get to see how the bike handles, climbs, descends, all that good stuff. Really excited to get out on it. So here we go. So right now I'm in the lowest assist mode, just to kind of get the feel for the bike. I mean, truth be told, already just on this low power mode, like that little climb was nothing.
We are at White Ranch. It's the first real ride out here on this Trek Rail 9.9. A couple little techie sections here. And also just a really steep overall climb. It's pretty excited to see how this Bosch motor will pull me over a lot of these little obstacles on the way up. I'm definitely pedaling pretty hard, but heart rate around 140. With the motor really just doing all the work for me. Averaging right around 12 miles an hour uphill on this climb, so that's pretty stinking awesome.
It's fast. It climbs really, really fast.
Ooh, that's fast. So fast. That's kind of the blessing and the curse about riding an e-bike. It flies up the hill, and that's awesome. But the vast majority of the folks that you're gonna pass are riding analog bikes. So there's gonna be a lot of, on your left, on your left.
First impressions of this bike was the different power levels and how they engage.
Oh yeah, man, that boost really kicks in. That's cool. Again, I'm still in just low mode, so I don't know if you need more than that right now.
As far as riding goes, I would say I kept it in the middle, just a little bit of boost, just enough.
That's easy. Whew. A little extra power. Oh shit, that was cool. I'm still breathing hard, so there's still some work being put into this. It's just a little less
Just turning it on, power level 1 was pretty basic, felt pretty much like a normal bike with, you know, maybe just a little bit of boost. But then like when I clicked it up to the full power mode, man, it just, like as soon as you hit the pedals, it just took off. That was pretty impressive to like kind of see the difference between those.
Holy cow.
I feel like that full boost, unless you're really climbing something steep and technical, it's kind of overkill. You really don't need it. It's there for when you do, but for the most part, it was something I didn't want to use.
Whew. Power mode is you gotta get used to that, I think. Right there, I pedaled hard and it boosted me. I wasn't quite ready for it.
There were some technical sections where it was way easier to ride on my normal bike than on the e-bike, and that's just because of the power and the torque from the e-bike. As soon as I would try to like pedal over it, the tire would spin out. So learning that and trying to compensate for that was something cool to figure out.
I think the best thing about it was also the worst thing. It was the torque. There were certain times where I actually couldn't even ride it in full turbo. When you're on a really steep climb, if you aren't weighting the front end perfectly, you will absolutely get bucked backwards. Because whenever you start to like kind of ratchet your cranks a little bit, if you're not leaning forward and weighting the front end, you're gonna fall right backwards. Did that a couple times. I was not ready for the torque.
Ooh, jeez. Okay, that torque is real. Bump it down. That torque will give you an immediate wheelie, even when you're not looking for it.
I don't really have that problem with the Orbea. It's kind of a blessing and a curse to be able to have that much power for sure, but I don't know if I necessarily need that much.
It's kind of nice, but also kind of scary. This bike lets you get a little bit complacent just because you know you're able to bail yourself out with that motor. The Orbea, I do feel like I'm still having to stay on my toes. This one I can be in the wrong gear, it'll bail me out really easily. I don't necessarily love that.
Remembering to shift is hard. I mean, the boost mode just, you know, takes care of a lot of work and you just kind of forget.
I discovered there's a walk mode.
So essentially, you click her down to the lowest level there and then push and hold. And check this out. The thing just takes off. Like, how cool is that? Just enough power that you're not pushing, you know, this 45, 50 pound bike, whatever it is, up this steep climb. Check that out. Walk assist mode. It's pretty cool.
All right, we're at the top. 24 and a half minutes, 69% left on the battery, full turbo mode.
The battery life is really, really big difference. I can easily do 2 laps at White Ranch in full turbo mode on the Orbea. I was able to do 2 full laps on the Trek in full turbo mode as well, and still had over 50% battery left. Quick math, it's like a couple hundred watt hours difference, but it does really result in like hours and hours and miles of difference for sure.
That suspension's so plush, comfy. Suspension on this is nice, super soft, but super supportive, to be honest. Fun bike. Yeah, 160, mils of travel in the front, 150 in the rear. I think it's a perfect combination. Might have to go home and overfork the Orbea, go up to a 160. Oh yeah, plush, that's nice. This RockShox suspension, I've said it 100 times, I'll say it 500 more, that's the money.
Once the descent starts, I'll probably click this thing down into... That didn't go very well. It's a little deep. Whew. Man, I love this stuff. It's so fun. As I was saying, I'll probably click it down into no assist or at least low for the main descent. I don't want to hit the pedal, you know, trying to even out my pedal stroke and have it kick into something when I'm not ready. So here we go, huh? Oh yeah, here we go. Man, this bike eats this stuff up. It's pretty awesome. Can't even really tell that it's an e-bike descending, which is pretty awesome. I was a little concerned about the weight. Oh shit! Whoops. I was a little concerned about the weight, as I was saying before. I don't know what I did there, but yeah, it's fine. This thing feels great. Hike's really good. Hike's about as good as it bikes. How's that? I feel really good about my setup on the suspension too. Even though it's not 100% where I would want it, this is pretty good. Just goes to show how good Fox suspension is. You can be off a little bit and it still rips.
It felt like a normal bike. I was definitely a little on the fence of like, you know, what's this gonna feel like? Is this gonna be heavy? Is it gonna handle the same? And everything felt just like a normal bike to me.
All right, definitely stays planted. The rowdier downhill, you can definitely tell the weight there. I felt more planted, wasn't quite as poppy. The 10 pounds difference is real. Right now, I'm kind of missing the Orbea.
The seat tube angle and the reach is really steep. So it made me feel like I was riding a mini electric dirt bike sometimes, which just isn't quite what I'm looking for. It was a great ride. It was super comfy. I liked the XTR components on it. Like, it shifted really, really well under load. The Bosch motor is really, really nice. I liked everything about the bike. It just isn't necessarily for me. It's just kind of like solidified for me that I don't need a full power. But if I'm going on like a couple day epic trip and I won't have access to power, or I don't have like a range extender, I would definitely consider renting or borrowing somebody's full power e-bike.
My overall impressions of this bike is pretty awesome. The fit was good, the motor was powerful, the ride was great. Instead of spending, you know, hour and a half, 2 hours, I was able to push and ride 4 hours on a single charge, keeping it kind of in that mid-range boost level.
For somebody who's in the market for an e-mountain bike, I would definitely just say, do your research and know what you want. There are so many options out there from so many great manufacturers that you don't have to settle for something that you don't need.
I think those people that are definitely on the fence of e-bikes just need to ride one. You know, that's where I was at. I was on the fence. I didn't know what to think, but now that I've ridden one, I think they're cool and they're a lot of fun. And when you can get more turns on the trail, then it's always worth it. I'm definitely pro e-bike. I see the benefits of them. One of the hardest things about this was just finding access to trails. There's so many trails that don't allow e-bikes that I'm really limited closely to where I live, 3-4 trails. So that was definitely one of the toughest things about it. I did take it out on the TPC group ride, and that climb is kind of funny. Like, as I'm riding and I'm just cruising, having a good time, and like everyone around me is on normal bikes, just gassed. So it was great.